I now recognize the ranking millennial on this committee, the gentlelady from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and that's very fitting because my question was related to millennials in the workplace. So my question is for Ms. Berberick. As a fellow millennial, I just wanted to lay down the context. Last month, millennials surpassed Generation Xers as the largest generation in the U.S. labor force. More than 1 in 3 American workers today are millennials, and by 2020, nearly half of the U.S. workforce will be comprised of millennials. So your point about how the FLSA and the fact that it has not modernized to keep pace with the technologically driven workplace is very meaningful. It will have significant impacts on our broader economic growth. I know that I am a typical millennial, an avid user of my smartphone, and I know that my constituents at home expect me to be in contact at all hours to make sure that I'm serving them. And I believe that in small businesses and in the private sector, it's also important to have that flexibility to promote greater productivity and to help grow our businesses. So can you talk about specifically how employers have been advised to ensure compliance with current rules is stifling flexibility and productivity from your experience?
Thank you for your question. I would say that employers are being stifled in their flexibility under the current regulations due to not having the resources for tracking this possible compensable time. In an organization such as Care Center, I'm a one-person HR department. If we have to have additional tracking outside of our in-house systems, that would be additional expense. And I can say that for Care Center and for many small businesses, we simply don't have the resources for it.
And Mr. Richardson, you spoke a lot about your company's commitment to flexibility in the workplace. Do you have any thoughts as you're seeing millennials join your business, and do you have any reflections to share?
One of the things that's really interesting as we attract more millennials is to see that their priorities are different. And not surprisingly, our general managers who are 40 and over are a bit more focused on retirement benefit and what comes next in that degree. With our younger workers, there's absolutely about what can I learn and a different notion of how long is a good time to stay somewhere. So to them, it's about learning the skills, the portability, having that chance to get the first job in the workplace. And I'll tell you what's really tough. In a lot of our cities, that youth unemployment rate is catastrophically high. Over 50% in Chicago, over 38% in Detroit, near 27% in New York. And that's why we fear if there are other wage adjustments, those are the first folks who don't get that chance to have that first step on the ladder to progress and opportunity. So that's where we have real inequality. It's about inequality of opportunity that we're seeing in that landscape where we need to have more jobs.
Mr. Court, do you have anything to add?
Let me just respond to the last, I guess, comment that if you weren't doing something wrong, there wouldn't be an investigation. I couldn't disagree more. An investigation can be started by a disgruntled employee. It can be started by a business competitor. The Department of Labor recognizes those investigations, and I've cited in my paper at least one example from my neighboring state of Arkansas of an investigation that went on for months, ran six-figure legal fees, and ultimately there was a finding that nothing was wrong.
Thank you very much. I think in order to encourage economic growth for millennials, we ought to be promoting policies that promote flexibility and productivity. So thank you very much, and I yield back.